Welcome, everybody, to the first edition of the Lawless Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Casey Lawless, and I just want to give a little bit of background on me. I'm 20 years old from the suburbs outside of Philadelphia. I've been talking sports ever since I could talk. This is truly something that I'm excited to do, and I want to give the best content that I possibly can. So please sit down, enjoy on my take on the world of sports. So with all being said, there's a couple topics we got to get into. First of all, one of my favorite players being Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has not been given a long-term deal yet. Now, everybody knows that he has already given the Seattle Seahawks the April 15th deadline that would make him possibly the most paid quarterback in football at roughly $35 million a year, $80 million guaranteed. Now, I'm just going to go over a couple stats over the last 3 seasons from these 3 starting quarterbacks. The 2 starting quarterbacks have deals long-term, and I want you to tell me who deserves the real money. We have one quarterback who has 69 touchdowns and 29 interceptions over the last 3 seasons. He's making $25 million per year, $70 million of it is guaranteed. We have quarterback number 2 who has thrown 12 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions, $27 million per year, $74 million guaranteed. Let's look at Russell Wilson's stats for the last 3 seasons. 90 passing touchdowns to 29 interceptions. The man is averaging 30 touchdowns and 10 interceptions a year. And quarterback number 1 is Derek Carr, who is just the most inconsistent quarterback in football with the amount of money that he's being paid. And Jimmy Garoppolo, who I love and I think he could be an absolute talent in this league. But at $27 million per year with 12 touchdowns over the last 3 seasons, it seems a bit ridiculous. The man has a $35 million signing bonus. $35 million. What is he given so far to San Francisco? It's truly incredible. I don't understand it. I mean, if we keep looking at guys who have been given their long-term deals, take a look. Andy Dalton. How is this man a starting quarterback in the NFL? It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. It truly doesn't, and I don't know how the state of Washington can let this man, who has truly been the most important player in Seattle history, just almost walk away. Like, New York is in the conversation. Who knows where this man could go? And it makes absolutely zero sense that a guy like Russell Wilson, who has been performing consistently over the last 6 seasons, who has made up over 85% of the Seattle offense in the last 2 seasons, can just not be given a deal. It truly is mind-blowing. If anybody has any insight on that one, please, I'd love to hear it. Now we have another topic. This just happened today. Leonard Fournette being arrested on a traffic violation, driving with either no license, a suspended license, we're not sure yet. But what does that mean for fantasy owners? Leonard Fournette, incredible player. Had him ranked high on my board. Had him ranked in the top 12 running backs. But he's too injury prone. But he's extremely talented. But sadly, talent will get you nowhere if you're never on the field. He has too many inconsistencies off the field. He's too much of a headache for his head coach. I don't see him being a true starter next year. I really think TJ Yeldon will be a much better value in PPR. I mean, just ask where Sam Bradford or Tyler Eifert with injuries will get you in the league. Tyler Eifert could be one of the best tight ends in fantasy, let alone football. And he's practically worthless. How do you know? How do you know if you're ever going to get anything out of him? How do you ever know if you're truly ever going to get playing time out of him? You're going to get 25 points one week, and then he's going to tear his ACL, and it's over. And that possible 5th round pick that you just spent on him is wasted. The last 2 years of fantasy, I've been a complete idiot, and in the same league, 2 years in a row, I've wasted my 1st round pick. I had the first pick 2 years in a row. I don't know how it happened, but I got the first pick. I took David Johnson 2 years ago. I mean, what a heartbreak. 2016 Offensive Player of the Year. You think this man's going to be the best running back in football. He's going to be the guy who's going to take Arizona to new heights, finally lead them back to where they should be. And the man just gets hurt and he doesn't play 12 games, whatever it was. And then this year, there were reports that Le'Veon Bell wasn't going to play. I didn't listen. I didn't hear. I didn't know. I didn't want to listen to the hate on him. And then my man just sits out all year. The first pick of the draft. Gurley's there. Saquon, Zeke, Melvin. They're all there. And I take Le'Veon Bell. I mean, back to Leonard Fournette, though. My man is just too injury prone. He's too high risk on the field, off the field. He can't take contact, even though he's a contact player. My man lowers his shoulder whenever he gets the chance, but he never gets the chance because he's never on the field. So, in my book, if you're taking a running back, there's 10 guys I can name ahead of him. I mean, I'll just go right now. I mean, you got Saquon Barkley, you got Ezekiel Elliott, you got Todd Gurley, you have Le'Veon Bell in New York. I mean, pray, right? You know what I mean? Melvin Gordon, another incredible running back. I'm even looking at Tevin Coleman getting a big role in San Fran, hopefully helping Jimmy Garoppolo back to where he's supposed to be. I'm looking at, dude, I might even be crazy and look at a guy like Marshawn Lynch over Leonard Fournette. I mean, there are just Alvin Kamara. Joe Mixon is going to be insane next year, and you have to get him high. You have to look at Joe Mixon. Leonard Fournette, too high risk, injury, on the field, off the field. I'm saying the same thing. It doesn't matter. You're still listening. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. But for real, Leonard Fournette is definitely not the guy I'm targeting in fantasy. Definitely not PPR and definitely not standard scoring. If you can get him late, and I mean late, like 9th, 10th round, maybe even still high risk, I definitely would not consider it. So now, definitely a super talked about topic that I feel like I want to give my opinion on. I want to give my point of view on. Dwayne Haskins. He looks good. He looks good coming out of Ohio State. He looks like a solid NFL stand-in-the-pocket quarterback. Definitely looks like a guy who you want to see throwing the football on your football team. But do you? I mean, you got that guy Kyler Murray. He's incredible. Watch the tape. Watch the film. Dude doesn't miss. The dude is a pure pocket passer who can run. I've never seen anybody be able to run the Kyler Murray's that he's run. He's as a runner, he's more talented than Michael Vick. And that's just, I don't even know. He is just that elusive, that quick, that agile, that slippery on the defense. And then not only that, his first instinct is to pass. He is a quarterback, and he knows it, and he plays the position so well, and he plays it so much bigger than he is. I'm tired of hearing about height. I'm tired of hearing about he's too small, he can't play, he will never last, he'll never get hit because, when he does, it's over. Look at the stats on batted balls by quarterbacks 6 feet and under. It's really not as staggering as you think. Drew Brees just had the highest passing completion percentage in NFL 2 years in a row. The man is 6'1", if 6 foot. I don't want to hear anything about batted balls, nothing. Kyler Murray, the dude is the real deal. He has the arm talent, the arm strength to compete with anyone. And it is a mistake if Arizona does not take him number one. I'm going off on a tangent. Let's get back to Dwayne Haskins. So Dwayne Haskins, everyone's thinking he's going to be the guy in New York. He's going to be the guy to save the Giants. It makes no sense. Eli Manning is still an average starting quarterback in this league. He can still make the throws. Watch the tape. Everyone just sees Eli Manning. Oh, he's old. Oh, he can't play. Oh, he can't move. You know what? Yeah, he really can't move, but he's agile enough. He's always had that sneaky athleticism in the pocket. If you really watch him, he's really able to spin away. He's really able to get away from defenders and make the right read. He always makes the right read. The only time he never made the right read was when he was throwing to Odell Beckham Jr. Watch the tape. He forced it to OBJ last year way too much. Any other receiver he would throw it to, he was making the right read. He was making the check down. He was looking for the deep bomb only when it made sense. The only time he ever made mistakes was when he was throwing to Odell Beckham Jr. And Odell Beckham Jr. is a guy that you have to give him the chance. You got to give him the chance to go up for the 50-50, but Eli Manning's just so much smarter without him on the field. He played better. He had a better completion percentage with Odell off the field. He might have had more yards and more touchdowns with him, but the completion percentage, the accuracy, the passer rating, all sky high. All better without him. and now he's not on the field anymore. Eli Manning, I believe, will actually be a better quarterback next year without Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham is a top 5 wide receiver in football, and Eli Manning's going to be better without him. He's going to be better without him, 100%. There is no doubt in my mind that Eli Manning will not be a more proficient passer of the football without Odell Beckham Jr. That's just what I see. But let's look at the reasons why you cannot waste this pick on Dwayne Haskins. Have you seen the defensive capabilities in this draft? This might be the most loaded draft for defense possibly ever. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. There are so many more needs. Pass rusher. There is zero pass rusher in the NFL. What are the 2 most important positions in the NFL? Quarterback and pass rusher. You cannot find a pass rusher in this league. It is impossible. But this draft is loaded with them. I'd go as far to say as to trade up to get Bosa. I mean, Nick Bosa is incredible. He looks almost better, if the best, better than his brother, Joey. I love Joey Bosa. Coming out of Ohio State, I knew he was going to be an animal. He has been nothing but consistent for the Chargers. He only shares the injury bug, as does he. So we're going to see how well that works in the NFL for him. But you got guys like Josh Allen, Quinnen Williams. I mean, there are so many talented defensive players in this draft. I mean, they have a big need at wide receiver now, right? They have 0 linebacking core. I mean, are you kidding me? If you're able to snag Devin Bush in this draft, I mean, I'm considering that a win. I mean, oh my gosh, what's his name? The linebacker out of LSU, incredible in this draft. Devin White, incredible player. Like, just, how do you not think about a guy like that? I will honestly be dumbfounded if they take Dwayne Haskins. Not to say that Dwayne Haskins won't have a great career, because I really believe that he will, but not in New York. It just doesn't make sense for them. There's so many more needs. You could even try to get Greedy Williams, the cornerback. He is incredible as well. And you gotta think about the quarterback draft next year. You cannot be tunnel vision. You got to think about guys like Justin Herbert out of Oregon. You got to think about guys like Tua from Alabama. Like, you cannot be tunnel vision in the way of thinking, oh, we missed on our quarterback last year, we got to get him this year. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. You have time. Suck for a year. You already do. It's fine. But just understand what you're giving up. Understand how much your team is becoming worse by taking a quarterback in this draft. You can make the argument that Dwayne Haskins can learn from Eli Manning, and you can take the argument that he can sit behind him, really learn from a veteran QB, 2 Super Bowls experience, but doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. There's no reason for Dwayne Haskins to be a New York Giant, at least not right now, maybe somewhere down the line, but Dwayne Haskins, he's a great quarterback. I think he has some issues. He really relies on his arm when he throws, and I mean, he's not using his full body of motion. If you watch, he's kind of like Eli Manning in the way. Eli Manning, when he throws, he's all arm. All arm. He does not use his body to drive his throws. That's why he doesn't have the throw power, the velocity on his ball that he used to. And, I mean, got to think about Saquon Barkley and his development. I mean, Saquon Barkley... The dude is an absolute stud, okay? I don't care what anyone says about him. He is an absolute stud. He's possibly the best running back right now. The man, what is he not even 22 years old? He's almost unstoppable. There are so many ways you get him involved. He's 22 years old. There's just no way that you cannot just keep him for the rest of his career. Honestly, if somehow the Giants let go of this kid, I mean, he averaged 5 yards a carry as a rookie. It makes no sense. The man had 11 touchdowns, 1,300 yards as a rookie. There is no way. I've heard talks that possibly they want to get rid of him after his rookie deal. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. If you give up Saquon Barkley and everyone already made fun of you enough for not taking a quarterback in that draft, and you give up Saquon Barkley, you're going to become the next Oakland Raiders? I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, there are so many players in this draft that the Giants can take that'll help them for the future, but will not make the record good enough to have a good enough pick and have a bad pick next year. They're going to get, hopefully, a top 5 pick. Hopefully, they'll suck on purpose. They should suck, get Tua, get Justin Herbert, get a guy, get your offensive line right. Oh my God, you wonder why Eli Manning never sucks so bad. It's because the dude never has time. Watch the tape. Watch the film. The man never has time to throw the football. Ever. I feel bad for him. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I feel bad for Eli Manning because this man, I watch him. Eagles have the best D-line in football, and we rack up like 6-7 sacks against the Giants a game every year we play them. And it's unreal. I mean, of course, I'm happy OBJ is out of my division now, but I mean, we have really, honestly, and that's, again, another topic that we're going to go into, the NFC East next year. How competitive this division really has been over the last 10 years. I believe I had to look up real quick, that there's never been a repeat NFC East champion. Let me check this out. In like the last 10 years, I believe. It's pretty insane. It's just been so competitive. I mean, think about like what's happened in the last 10 years, right? I mean, our starting quarterback was Donovan McNabb, you know what I mean? And then it was Vic. Like, it's honestly incredible. It really is incredible about how competitive we've been. And honestly, I hope it stays that way because it's so much fun to watch. Of course, I want to watch the Eagles just dominate, but I love competition. I love watching us fight through adversity. I love watching the development of Carson Wentz. I mean, Carson Wentz, I honestly think he is absolutely built for a breakout season. I mean, just all the pieces. Howie Roseman literally is a god. The man is a genius. The man basically got Jordan Howard for a bag of chips and an empty can of Coke. Like, literally, like, the dude he's incredible. He's amazing. And, like, Jordan Howard, I think, is going to be probably one of the most unsung heroes of Philadelphia next year. He's going to work so well with the RPO. We have so many other talented running backs with Corey Clement, Wendell Smallwood helping. Darren Sproles isn't sure if he's returning yet. We still have Boston Scott. Like, we have so many guys in that backfield, in that committee, that are just so talented in so many different ways. Josh Adams. How can you forget about Josh Adams? This man was supposed to be our number 1 running back. It's looking like it's going to be Jordan Howard now. Maybe splitting carries. I hope that doesn't affect any chemistry or anything like that. Adding Deshaun Jackson was huge. Think about it. They restructured his deal, so he's actually going to be making less money, and plus he's just only going to help the development of Nelson Aguilar, and him and Alshon Jeffrey are just going to mesh. Zach Ertz is still going to be the best tight end in football. I don't care what you say. Travis Kelce, he can have number 2. Travis Kelce can have number 2 any day. I'm taking Zach Ertz. Without a doubt. I'd say if Gronk was still in the league, I'd put Gronk number 2 ahead of Travis Kelce because Gronk is just such a better blocker than, honestly, both Ertz and Kelce, but just the receiving that Ertz can bring to the table and how talented he is, and his yards after catch is outstanding. Outstanding. Zach Ertz truly is, I think, possibly the best. He could be the best tight end in Eagles history. I mean, you really don't have much to compete with. You have, LJ Smith and Brent Selleck. Love Brent Selleck, but the man Zach Ertz had 116 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 8 touchdowns as a tight end. 116 receptions as a tight end. My man is putting up Shannon Sharp, Tony G numbers. Incredible. Let's talk about the Redskins, though. I mean, what a sad story. Thinking you found your quarterback in Alex Smith. He honestly played incredibly well. I always thought Alex Smith was a little bit underrated in Kansas City. I mean, he never really had the arm, but he always made the right read, and I loved the way he can move. He was a very mobile player. Again, sneaky athleticism. But Alex Smith, with a Joe injury, Joe Theismann injury, it was one of the most gruesome things I've ever seen in my entire life of watching the NFL, watching sports. I mean, disgusting. And it's really a shame. Alex Smith might never ever play football again. He might never play football again, and my heart truly goes out to him because he was a talented player. He was a guy who was liked around the locker room. There was never had an issue, never had a complaint. Even when Cap started over him in San Fran, never had a complaint. Always was the man for the team. Always was a team player. And now, do you look for your quarterback in this year's draft? I mean, the Redskins QB right now, it's not looking too great. What do you guys got? Colt McCoy and guys like that. What do you have? Josh Johnson. What do you guys do? Are you guys? Do they look for Josh Rosen in a trade? Or is Case Keenum the answer? Who knows? Who knows if he truly is the answer, Case Keenum? What are you really getting with Case Keenum? You're getting average, legitimate, the epitome of mediocrity. 18 touchdowns to 15 interceptions last year for Case Keenum. 3,800 yards. What are you getting? What are you really getting with Case Keenum? It's kind of like when you have a car, right? And you need a spare part until you can get that better part. He's going to work for now, but he cannot be the long-term answer. He can't be. And if he is, that's embarrassing, honestly. Yeah, he's 31 years old. He had that one kind of miracle season in Minnesota, but that's really all you got from him. He did jack nothing in Denver. I'm sorry, but he did nothing in Denver. And, I just don't know what you get with Case Keenum. Do the Redskins look for a Daniel Jones? Do they look for a Will Grier, maybe? Will Grier looks like he's possibly fallen in the second round, maybe even going to New England. Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft have already shown interest in Will Grier, quarterback out of West Virginia. He has a good arm, nice arm, a little lackluster with his accuracy, but, he looks like a guy who could possibly make the plays and possibly, be the guy who maybe could be the possible next, the possible passing of the torch, if you will, in New England. Brady has to go at some time. Watching this play against Texas, he's able to make a nice read. He's able to make the good plays. He has great touch. That's what I'll say. He'll have great touch on the ball. The problem with his touch is the accuracy is not always there. He doesn't always know where he really truly wants to put this football, and a lot of the times his receivers are making plays for him. And also, he needs to be drafted to a team that has the RPO system. He ran RPOs about 70% of his career in West Virginia. RPOs are a huge part now of the NFL, but Bill Belichick isn't running RPOs. There are few teams who are at this point. Well, actually, it's more few teams who aren't than are at this point. More teams are running RPOs more than ever before. College football is finally, the trendiness of college football and the trendiness of their option style is finally making its way to the NFL. Finally, coaches are realizing. People thought when Chip Kelly came to Philly, oh my God, what a dumpster fire that was, that he was ahead of his time, that he really knew what was going on before, anyone really did, and clearly that got ran into the ground really quickly. So, let's talk about, who else? Dallas. Oh, Dallas. Poor old Dallas. Zeke, I'm sorry. You're going to run for a lot of yards. You're going to run for a lot of touchdowns. You are not winning the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. You might not even make the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. Not to say that I dislike Dak Prescott or I say that I dislike what he brings to the table. He's just mediocrity behind the best line, or if not the second best line in football. Dak Prescott. Everyone's saying he's a warrior. He's a proven winner. Really? Is he, though? Is Dak Prescott really the guy in Dallas? The stats are average. 22 touchdowns and 8 interceptions last year. That scream elite to you? No, it doesn't. Russell Wilson's numbers scream elite to me. 35-7. That is elite. Dak Prescott, he is what I like to call the definition of a game manager. He's going to make the 3 or 4 big plays that you need and nothing more. And you hope that Dak doesn't make a mistake. You pray that Dak Prescott does not make a mistake. He's never been over 23 touchdowns in his career. 23 actually was his height in his rookie year. He went 23, then 22, then 22. That's mediocre. That's not going to get you anywhere. And they say, you know what? Defense wins championships. mediocre quarterback can get you there. I mean, look at what Baltimore did in the early 2000s. You even remember who that quarterback was? Trent Dilfer. You know who Trent Dilfer is? Probably not if you're listening to this podcast. You probably don't know who Trent Dilfer is. And if you do know who Trent Dilfer is, you know he was a quarterback taken in the first round who never turned out to be nothing. But you know what? He has a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's more than I could say about Dak Prescott. I mean, he's only been in the league three seasons. It'll be his fourth season next year. But Dallas is never going to win a Super Bowl behind him because you either need a great quarterback or a great defense. Dallas has neither. I mean, you have really talented players in Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith. I love watching them play. They're so talented, so athletic. Once he gets over this injury bug, he could be one of the best linebackers in football. That's a fact. I really agree with that. Our Leighton Vander Esch is that talented right now. I'm looking at the next Luke Kuechly. He is that impressive to me at this young stage in his career. He truly is. He is that impressive. And that's scary. But DeMarcus Lawrence, is he a longtime Cowboy? Do we know this? We don't know this. Who starting corners for the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, Byron Jones, is he a safety? Is there their corner? You really don't know with him. I mean, you can move him everywhere you want to, but the problem is when you're a little good at everything, you're never great. You're not. I mean, great example I can think of right now is Ty Montgomery. He's an okay running back and an okay receiver. He just got signed by the Jets today. Do I think he's going to make that much of an impact? No, I don't. You can't trust him on special teams, as he's shown against the Rams earlier in the season. And he's just not that great. He's not. He's just not. And I'm going off on a tangent again, and I can constantly go off on tangents. I really can. But I just don't like what Dallas has in store right now. And honestly, I'm thankful for that. Dallas can keep screwing up as many times as they would like to, and I am always going to be okay with that as an Eagles fan because, honestly, I could care less about them. I really could. But, at the same time, I also dislike what we're doing in Philly right now. A little bit, I do. Jordan Hicks is gone. Starting middle linebacker. Yeah, he had the injury bug, but I can't trust the Eagles secondary to make up for all the tackles. Malcolm Jenkins is already playing essentially outside middle linebacker, strong safety, nickel corner. The dude is everywhere, and I love that, but I hate that he has to be in so many areas as he's nearing the end of his prime. He's getting up there in age, and it's not helpful. And then Rodney McLeod, who is an incredible player, but he's constantly hurt, never on the field. Right now, if I were Doug, or I was Howie, or I was Jeffrey Lurie, or I was anyone in that situation, I would try to trade McLeod. I would try to move Jalen Mills to free safety, and then have the starting corners as Ronald Darby, Sidney Jones, and probably Rasul Douglas in the nickel. That is what I would do, because we got to get value for McLeod now. I just don't know if... We just have an abundance of DBs, essentially what I'm saying. We have just way too many. And that scares me as a fan because what do you do with all those guys? I mean, they're not helping us in a way because there's just so many and you can't give all those guys playing time and then that's not fair to them. But you got to get rid of the weak links now to help better prepare for the future. I think in this draft, we were looking Josh Jacobs and then we signed Jordan Howard. I think the attention has to be to linebacker. Has to be to linebacker. And if we can't go linebacker, we have to go the defensive tackle out of Clemson, Christian Wilkins. So we either go Christian Wilkins or possibly a linebacker in this draft. We need to. We need a linebacker. I think that's our strongest need. It's the biggest need. And I hope we address it because it's only going to make us better. I don't really think we need to go. I mean, I believe we should go offensive lineman in the second round, but we shall see. And yeah, that's really all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening. This was so much fun to record, and So thank you so much. I am Casey Lawless of the Lawless Sports Podcast, and I'm going to see you guys real soon. Thank you so much. Goodbye.